ready. Jesus, Omar, you suck at this.
My bad. Sorry, I'm playing
Oh
with my
my
new
God.
toy. So, all right. So, welcome to the Blue. This started way before this whole episode, but welcome to the Blue Collar Society. Once again, we are back. We had a little last episode of the that didn't happen, but whatever. So we have Leon. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Nice to be here, guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
And I mean, at this point, pretty much we all know who Leon is. I mean, he is our internet muscle daddy, if you will. You know, he's always pulling medicine balls with his feet, which I don't know how he does that. I'd throw a hernia if I did that.
He was young.
So are we, kind of.
It's all in the mind, man. It's all in the mind.
That's the topic, actually, because you know, with fitness in your mind, right? I mean, they go hand in hand, right? So
Yeah, I agree.
Fitness, right? It's one of those things that I personally think that like anybody can work out because the body can do whatever it wants to do. It's the mind really the biggest obstacle is not necessarily your body. Your body is capable of doing a lot of things. So that was my whole topic on like how, you know, blue collar workers most of the time don't focus on fitness because they always think like, hey, I'm lifting heavy things all day long. I don't need to go to the gym. But it's true to an extent. You know what I mean? I find that we still need it. Obviously, most of us don't have the best diets because we're always on the go. Grab whatever you can, you know, gas station burrito, maybe a gas station sushi if you're like that animal that's right there. And
I don't get gas station sushi.
What are you drinking right now?
Who, myself?
Exactly. No, he's drinking a
Jeremiah.
So speaking about fitness,
These are the special ones.
That's the Mexican ones, but are they Mexican?
Yeah, man.
They are, okay, but yeah. So how does fitness like explain the whole thing behind? Because I know that you also had mentioned that your page is not going to be so much into like a whole different changes are coming to your page. If I remember, you posted something about that. So
yeah, it's So I'll be 100% honest, and I think I've talked to a few people that have been willing to open up about it and I'm sure you guys can maybe kind of see a little bit of this, but social media tends to some users tend to want to blow up their social media to be all nice shit, right? Like, this is all I ever do is whatever the fuck I post about, you know, which from a business perspective, I can definitely see that. I have heard some people actually suggest that if you want to get more views on a certain, I don't know, creative, something that you can bring to the table, then kind of keep it in that realm of, say, if you're a foodie, for example, just keep it in the foodie section. If you're a architectural designer, keep it in that realm. But like my whole, and kind of you know, letting you guys know a little bit of my background. Omar, you probably know a little bit. Jeremiah, I talked to you a little bit at Coverings. So my whole background is like, there's a lot of kind of selling myself to try to be someone that other people could relate to, you know, and compromising who I am, my integrity, to try to gain, I don't know, a friend, a relationship, or even some fucking attention. And that led me to go down a road that, you know, I would do things and hang out with certain people that wouldn't bring me any benefit and shit. So like, I've got to constantly ask myself, is what you're doing right now really who the fuck you are? Like, is this really a part of who you are, or are you doing this to try to gain something from somebody else? And I got to constantly check that shit. And I don't want to use the term balance because I don't necessarily believe in the balance. Some people are like, you need a balance, you need this, you need that. to get where I want to get, there's no room for balance at all. And it took me a while to understand it and accept that, but that's the reality of it. Like, I've got so much to catch up on. There's no room for balance in what I do today. But so my page is just gonna be dedicated to like the reality of what the fuck I'm doing, which is for a lot of people that don't know. So I've got a history with I guess the only way to really say it is I've got a criminal history that I'm not proud of. I've got things that, decisions that I made that took up a lot of my time and a lot of things that I'm not proud of. So, like, getting around all that shit and realizing, like, bro, you got to stay true to who you are so that at the end of this whole thing that's, we call life, you can be proud of what the fuck you did and know that you did it 100%. Without compromising who you were. So my page is basically going to be like, this is the life of this guy that made a lot of bad decisions, stupid decisions, and one day just decided, screw all that, tighten up. Everything from now on is going to be, you're going to bite the fucking bullet. You're going to go head first into all this shit. And you're just going to grind this shit out. Little education, didn't even finish high school. All those factors that are stacked against me. And you're going to find a way, or you're going to make one. And so the whole thing from here on out is, with all the obstacles that are stacked and that I'm going to have to confront, like, this shit's going to fucking happen. And there's no, I'm dedicating my life basically to, I will fucking find a way, or I will make one. And anybody else that's also kind of on the fence of whether they should make that jump or not, I mean, I'm here for the underdogs, and just to be where I'm at today, dude, is it's been a fucking adventure, dude. This is not this type of environment that I'm in, to even have this conversation with you guys, like this is not something that life ever came, close to touching.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, with all that, accountability, I think, is the first thing, right? When you basically get tired of your own shit, and it's like, all right, I got to do something.
Yeah.
Environmental plays a lot. The environment in which you're in, and you're gonna hit a road. We all hit that road. I mean, Jeremiah's hit that road. I've hit that road. It's like, okay, go right, try to do things the right way and improve yourself. Go left and live the lifestyle that you're surrounded with. Unfortunately, some of us do take the right road, some of us don't. I mean, but that's also the journey of your life. Because now, though it might have been a bad time, it prepared you for where you are.
Most definitely, yeah.
Because being a contractor, being, doing work for yourself, essentially, not for the faint of heart. Like, there's days where I'm sure you're like, yo, am I even going to eat next week? Or there's days where, like, I don't have enough time to finish what I have. And it's always that constant roller coaster. Now, for an average person, that would drive them insane. That's why they choose the 9-to-5 lifestyle. So I think your lifestyle is playing into that now. And you can look back as like, okay, I've been through worse. This is nothing. You know what I mean? So it helps you in the long run. And I think
you forget about that, though, sometimes. It's like that micro correction where you kind of get used to things getting easy and you're like, what the fuck you doing? We've been through worse. So send it.
Yeah. 100%, man. I actually had that conversation, in my head earlier today. Like, I was driving, getting some material, and I'm just thinking, man, I got all this stuff to do. And then I hit the brakes. I'm like, I had to tell that voice inside of my head, dude, shut the fuck up, because shit this is I don't like to use the term blessing, hashtag blessed and all that shit.
No.
But
It's an
compared
opportunity.
to, yeah, exactly. Like what you just said a second ago, compared to what it used to be like, this is a cake in the walk, man. I used to pray for days like this to be able to have 10 times the amount of pressure on me now, just to not have that feeling that I had that day, sitting in that, in that cell, or, just feeling like I'm at rock bottom and there's no way out of this. And yeah, I got to constantly remind myself. And also in that moment, it's like, nah, you need 100 times more of this in order to get where you want to be. And, it doesn't happen as often as it used to in the past, where it was like every 5 minutes, it's like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. What am I going to do? I got to go talk to these people. I gotta go pick up this material. I gotta go bid on this job. And it was scary. I'm not gonna lie. At the beginning, it's like, how the hell do I face these people? And it all started with me facing myself,
Right.
and that's where shit just started to take off.
Accountability, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's like I said, by the amount that I know from you, you're doing the right thing. You're battling the demons that I think a lot of us on social media do, but not speak about it. Like, it's starting to become that thing where most guys can't open up that easy anyways, but a lot of us
yeah,
do. Like, I have that conversation with me all the time. I'll sit there and be like, man, I could be doing so much better, or this is bullshit, or I could be doing something else. It's like, whoa, hold on. Where were you last year? Where were you a year before?
Yeah.
Like I'm able to come home at a reasonable time and sit down and have a steak dinner with my family. Like, come on, relax. Like, you have it so much better. And you have to
yeah,
remind yourself that that's something, like, even in the mornings, wake up and say, yo, it's a blessing that you're going to take this step, because you could be in that lifestyle. You could be stuck on that other lifestyle, but no, you're
Well,
not. You're out.
I think we get stuck up with growth. That seems to be like a
Yes.
reoccurring problem, where, like, if you're not growing, you feel like you're not, you're not progressing, if you will. And I get trapped in that all the time, especially like financially, when I'm looking at my like company numbers, or for like work. It's like, I have no work, but then I complain about not having work, and then complain about having too much work. And like I said, it's like a micro correction. Then you got to take a step back and be like, all right, like I'm making, like I'm 22, so I don't have that many years, but I'm like, a couple of years ago, this is my annual salary, and I'm damn near making it in a month. What am I complaining about? I was living off of that, just
Yeah.
fine. More stressful situations, less stressful situations, getting into something, keeps you distracted, keeps you busy, doing something productive.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's with all. Well, I can't speak for all male, but for all the men that I've had the opportunity to have that conversation with, I think that there's something that we have to constantly see progress. Like, we all have this internal ticker or something that knows that these days are, we only have a certain amount of days. So within those days, we got to fucking do something. We got to make something happen, or else we don't feel like we are bringing value to the table of either human species or our families, But
Yeah. I mean,
but yeah.
I also think it's because we're always looking for a battle. We're always looking for something to overcome. And like,
Facts.
I find like when you reach a point where like you start having workers, or you start subbing things out, and things start to become like normal, if you will, like, and then you're like, okay, something's wrong. And now you're sitting there, you're going through your
Yeah.
numbers, you're doing a bunch of other things. You're like, like, you're overthinking. You're like, oh my god, what's wrong? Why is, like, this is normal? And like, for other people that have been in the game longer, they'll be like, yo, relax, this is what it is. Then you have to find other avenues to keep yourself, if you will, in battle. Like, I feel like you need a battle. You need something to pressure you. And that's why I think like fitness is huge, because that's something that is a continuous battle that I feel like you will never actually get to a point where you're like, I'm done. Like, I've reached the level. No, I find like that's why fitness was always a thing for me. I have to get back to it. I actually just picked up a bench today to work out. Literally bought it. I need to get into it again. But I find that that's a good, healthy way of alleviating some of that stress of like, I need a challenge. and it kind of centers you a little bit versus like having to always think like, oh my God, am I doing things? Did I price that right? Did I stick that tile the right way, even though you rechecked it like 4 times? You know, it's
God,
like
that one right there, that one, I felt that right here. That tile,
so
did I stick it the right way?
right. And if you're a good tile guy, like actually who cares about the art and the craft and everything, little things like that will haunt you. Like you could be having breakfast one day 4 years down the road, and you're like, fuck that fucking tile, man. If I would have just wedged it a little bit more, you know, it's gonna
Yeah,
just know that you're gonna encounter those battles. I do. I don't know about Jeremiah, but I do. Where it's like constantly thinking.
Nah, put it down right
yeah,
the first time.
definitely.
No.
I go flexing. He said, I'm just a good tile guy. I don't know what you guys
Yeah,
talking
there's that
about.
ego.
The
I'm
reality
just
is
that
we
good.
see details that homeowners outside of another tile guy will never see, notice, care, or like ever really care about. And so it's like sometimes you gotta remind yourself, but same token, it's like I'm gonna do it while I'm here.
Well,
Yeah,
we're creating an illusion, right? I mean, tile is to an extent an illusion because you're taking a rock and making it flat, square, and pretty.
yeah,
So yeah, it's an illusion to an extent.
yeah,
But yeah,
definitely.
fitness. So how fitness is that something that's always been there, picked up at some point? Like how did that come into your life?
So there was a point about maybe 10 years ago where I was introduced to structure. I was forced into a life of structure by the corrections department. And what I took away from that was that I do well when I have structure. Fitness was something that it was a channel, it was a way for me to get a lot of emotional weight that I had taken on. I didn't realize that I had taken on, from growing up in a small town, growing up in poverty, growing up around a certain lifestyle where either you were poor, in this neighborhood, or you were poor working a 9 to 5, or you had that life. And so I had a lot of messed up ways of thinking about life in general. And so there was a lot of that I was carrying on for a while. And then when I was introduced to working out on a daily basis, it allowed me to kind of get outside of that and pull my head out of my ass, if you will, and realize like, holy shit, there's I don't know what it does exactly in the brain, but it just allows me to kind of be present, be in the moment, and put things on the table, my emotions and my thoughts, to where I can actually analyze them. And then like I didn't realize how much I benefited from working out until, I don't know, very recently. And then I'm like, no, that I'm keeping with me. Like I've got to do this shit. I've got to constantly check myself. I got to make sure that I'm staying true to myself, and that allows me to kind of just be present and have that talk with my ego, and say like, this is what we're gonna do. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
was there ever a mentor that got you into that, or you just stumbled upon it? I mean, usually that's how.
For the most part, I mean, all my mentors are from YouTube. I mean, I kind of listened to everything. There were like Joe Rogan, Goggins, Jocko. Those are the guys that I personally can relate to, just because they're hard on themselves, but I relate to them because like the things that they talk about are the same conversations that I have with myself. So after kind of realizing that I'm not the only one, I just kind of started setting my own routine and personalizing all that shit, and just been getting a little bit in my head 1% better every day. But not a physical mentor here with me, more so of the little things that I learned. I just kept them in my bag and rode out with it.
Mm. Okay, yeah, because I mean, for me, it was a high school friend of mine. It was more like a challenge. He's like, "Yo, I challenge you to do this." And that challenge led to another challenge, and then he left, and the challenges continued just by myself. You know, so that's what
Yeah.
I mean. Like, if somebody bumped you in that direction, but I guess you just found it on your own because, like, I think I said earlier, you got tired of your own shit, and it was time to change.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, that's exactly what happened. I mean, because of the fact the motivation doesn't necessarily, it's a concept kind of for the most part. I mean, motivation to me doesn't really exist. The reality is either you get up and you go turn on that light switch, or you go, cut this piece of tile, or you do this, or you don't. And between, being stagnant and actually taking that first step, there has to be a thought and then a decision. And the decision was, you got so much more to fucking give, bro. And I just took it upon myself to start doing, and then kind of learning from those decisions every single day.
Right. And
Yeah.
now, how does that correlate, like, translate into your work now? Because I know they go hand in hand.
Oh yeah, for sure. So when I'm at the gym, or when I'm just on the ground doing push-ups or whatever the hell it is, my thought is I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do everything with proper form. I'm gonna do everything true to me. And when I'm at work, like, I genuinely care about the customer, which was one of the most difficult things for me to ever understand, or to ever actually learn and be good at. Like, how do I care about somebody else? Especially being in that lifestyle and being selfish. Like, how do I genuinely care about somebody else? And it that to me started when, like, I remembered everything that I went through, and ultimately seeing myself at that, at a certain stage, and I'm like, damn, that's got to feel good as fuck. And like, I want that feeling for other people. So I go that extra mile for my customers, not because, I used to look at it as like kissing ass, but now it's like, no, I genuinely give a crap about Miss Lisa's backsplash, or, Mr. Don's shower, because I want everybody to have this feeling that they are important. And because I want them to have their own, I guess, celebration, kind of their own feeling. So that it ties in directly, in my mind, because if I can do this in the gym, then I've got no excuse at work. If I got to do, and I'll purposely tell myself to do 10 extra pull-ups, because I know I'm going to have to spend, one day, 30 minutes, a couple hours. It might be 12 o'clock in the morning. And if I don't, bitch out in the gym, then I can kind of redirect that same energy at the job site, when, I used to be that guy as well. And I'm not pointing fingers at anybody else, but it's easy for a guy to be like, that's good enough for my house, or it's 5 o'clock somewhere, or, I've already put 8 hours in. But that just doesn't really sit well with me today, because I know I have so much more that I can give and so much more that I can do. And that's kind of where it ties in. I can do more, and I will do more, because, I'm not about to give myself an excuse and a cop out.
Right. And
Yeah.
with adopting of that mindset, have you seen growth in your business, if you will?
Yeah. Actually, when I really started to implement that, is when I would have customers. I don't know if maybe it was something within myself. I know my reviews definitely started bumping up. And there was a genuine connection. Like, some of my customers will reach out and say, hey, I just gave your number to such and such. Also, thank you. But my productivity is, even though I'm not the fastest installer, because of, those thoughts where I always want something to be a little bit more square or straight, I'm still able to provide a higher quality of work, because I don't allow myself that leeway to give myself excuses to, to say, well, I can do it tomorrow, or, I've got time. So yeah, it definitely has helped me with work, and also just for the most part, yeah. Long story short, it has.
Okay.
See, for me, that thought process and my go-to is like, come hell or high water, it's happening today.
Yeah.
So and I say that to the customer a lot. I'm like, come hell or high water, I'll have your floor finished today.
No, that's basically, and from your, in your own words, that's, I mean, from what I can see, that's the same thought process, the same mindset is like, it's gonna happen because it's gonna happen,
And now you've
I'll
told
find
the
a way or
customer
I'll
it's
make
gonna
one.
happen. So now you got to follow through on it. So
yeah,
right.
Which is big. It's big in business. If you can do something for your customer, especially when they see that it's later in the day and they understand, like, dang, he still has to do this, and that. And by the time, you're picked up and you're off the job site, it's done. It's like, yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy that I'm gonna, entrust, my home or whatever to, and I feel good about it because, he's gonna jump that hurdle. He's gonna do that, and whether they have that thought or not, it's like, damn, this guy fucking did that for me. Is what the customer's thinking, and that shit to me is it's fucking beautiful, dude. Because I mean, these people, and the way that I look at it is, these people, like, they work hard for their money to be able to trade out for our talents and skills, and like, I don't know, just that exchange to me is, it's not something that I want to do for my entire life, but I do appreciate that exchange because some people that genuinely care, it feels good leaving their home and they're like, I fucking love it.
Right. So I mean,
yeah,
becoming, I guess, ultra focused on what you do, right? I mean, you sometimes, I mean, from my personal experience, like today, I'm running around, I'm getting everything ready, trying to get everything done. I got subs working, I got all this, and like to the point where the customer's like, "Hey, what time are you picking up your check?" Like, so it happens quite often to me, like where I'm so into, like, I want to get this project done and like I want to get it perfect that I forget to even sometimes collect payments, if you will, which is it's nice, but that shows me like, okay,
customers
we're focusing.
Like,
Yeah,
no,
they right. Like,
take
and I have another customer where we're coming to the end. This bathroom was pretty big. Everything was intricate that we did, and she's like kind of sad that we're leaving. Not so much that she's getting a bathroom. She's like, we're not gonna see you anymore. Like, I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, we're done. Like, we're towards the end.
All this love was fake. It was all about money. I'm just a gold digger.
So she's nice.
Jeremiah's like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Yo,
I get full payment when I get there. Yeah.
Hey, can you look at our kitchen? Yes, ma'am. I've actually been missing you. I didn't want to leave this house this whole time. You're one of my favorite customers. Let's look at that kitchen.
No, so this lady's so nice, dude. She makes like the meanest Spanish coffee I've had up here in my area, which is kind of rare. And like it's coffee time. You guys seen the posts? Every time I get there, she's like, "Coffee." I'm like, I haven't even started working, but all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, translating that, like, I think if you focus so much on making the product look good and doing a service to somebody, because essentially that's what we're doing, providing a service.
Yeah.
Right? And they're trusting in us to give them a good service. And it's I think, like, if you are able to be true to yourself and true to your craft, people sense that when you go to do estimates, and they're like, all right, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like, you're sitting there giving her details of the bathroom and like, oh, I would do this versus that. I would suggest this versus that. They could tell, like, yo, he's not here. Like, yo, it's going to be $15,000 and it's going to be $20,000. Like, instead, you have spoken about what they want, their vision.
Yeah.
And that's what they're like, I want to go with this guy because he cares more about what he's doing. He's not so like, all right, gun ho, let's chop it up, production level bathrooms, if you will, which is a whole other topic between custom and production. You got your chop shops and you got your custom that we do. So I think that you're gonna see a lot of change when you start putting it all into that, and customers pick
Yeah.
up on that. They, like Jeremiah's always saying, he's like, you always get the good customers. Like, so far I've been lucky. So far, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know if that I
that's
don't
me.
know if I don't know if that is luck necessarily, because I used to be a big believer in luck when I didn't really know too much about, hard work and whatnot. But I think that that's a way of you actually creating a relationship, man, to be honest with you. I think that there's something in the
I
way
agree.
that, and a lot of what you just said kind of points to the fact that there is a high probability that is you're actually building these relationships with these people, because when you come in on a project, and by the way, over a year ago, or a year and earlier in my life, I would not have understood anything of what we're talking about. But sincerity and actually caring about somebody's project at the end of it, it's if you can, from my experience, if I can relay that I'm here to fight for you, like I'm here on these grounds on your home because I want this backsplash as much, if not more, or this shower as much, if not more, than you do for you. Like, I remember hearing a quote on some social media, might have been Instagram, might have been Facebook or something, but it was something along the lines of shit, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's something along the lines of, I'm not doing this for you, I'm doing this for me, but you get to keep it. Something along those lines. And you may have heard it, may have not, but that's how I see my work now. Is I've been able to kind of help myself, to help my customers, by me understanding that this shower that I'm building for this current customer, I'm building it for myself. This is my shower. It's just it's just gonna stay in their home, if
In
that
your
makes any
house. I'm
sense.
letting you
Yeah.
use it.
Yeah,
I mean,
kind of, not in a selfish way, but ultimately, like,
yeah,
this is my art piece. I want you to have it, kind of,
But at the
right.
if
same
that makes any
token,
sense.
and I'm pretty sure everybody has the same conversation with their customers. Like, this is my shower. So if I walk away and something happens to my shower, you let me know, right? If something happens or you suspect anything, just give me a call. I'll come take a look at it. Like, you get like service calls, like free servicing on this.
Right.
Yeah,
Which
no, that's a huge
I,
plus.
I ran into that recently, where the bathroom that we just redid was done in 2018, so it's not that long ago. You know what I mean? And it was bad. Like, I could list the list goes on of everything that you could possibly do wrong was done,
Hmm.
and you know that's where the accountability comes into play, because they did call the person back and they're like, "Hey, what are we going to do about this?" And they were like, "Well, there's nothing we can do." Versus, like, I'm like, okay, and I told my customers, like, if anything happens to the shower, anything, I mean, for God forbid something cracks in the future that is manufacturer problem, you call me and we'll handle it. I'm not just gonna be like, hey, the pan cracked. It's out of my realm. It's not me. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
even if it is a manufacturer warranty, at the end of the day, they're not going to go call the manufacturer. They're going to call you.
no,
They're going to expect
yeah,
answers
Yeah,
from you. So you still got to like stand behind the product. You have to stand
yeah,
behind your warranty at Craftsman. Let's say worst case scenario, whatever company doesn't cover it. Well, you still got a customer to contend with. You still got to fix it. So
yeah. You fix it, and I tell my customers, I'm like, if it's a warranty issue, we'll go through the proper channels, but I will fix it, and I'll be the one to deal with them. I don't want them
yeah,
to go, you to go put this burden on you, because I'm the one to put it in. They're going to start asking you questions about how I put it in. So rather than doing that little circle, let's just put it straight to me. I'll fix it and I'll go deal with them. This is my product, my name, you know, and that's how I treat. Because like they're like, well, what's your warranty limits? I'm like, for me and my craftsmanship is lifetime, so long as you own the house. As
yeah.
long as you own the house, anything happens, anything that's out of ordinary. Obviously, if you call me and there's a giant hole because somebody put their knee through it, then that's a different story. But yeah,
Right.
so
No, I
there's more, so
I kind of look
that's
at it.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I look at it the same way, honestly. I mean, I generally tell them, depending on, and if it's grout or something, or if it's cracking in the tile. I mean, it's I tell them 3 years, 5 years, but I in my head I know if anything were to happen, even if it's 7 8 years, and it's something that I did, I'm probably gonna go take care. Well, not probably. I mean, being true to myself, I'm gonna go take care of it because, like, these people don't know. Like, kind of like what Jeremiah said, these people don't know to call the manufacturers, and ultimately, it's my name on the product, and I stand behind everything that I do, like 100%. But it's because I genuinely care, which is something that I had to learn how to do, is how to genuinely care about somebody else's home. But yeah, no, I agree.
And I mean, like caring about their homes, caring about how we minimize the damage of a home because we're damaging a home essentially. Um, it shows more about yourself, I think. You know what I mean, in a way, like because it's like
100%.
it's a reflection of you. So people are like, oh yeah, he just doesn't care. It's like then it obviously shows you. But if you care so much, you cover the floors, you do all this. Like you said, I'm building this shower for me. I'm just gonna allow you to keep it because it's just literally you. It's your battles. It's you. It's a piece of you, if you will.
100%.
And the same token, if something, but like let's say that's not in your scope fails because it fails and affects your work, well, again, it makes your work look bad. So you got like a couple, and I know like me and Omar do this almost religiously. Actually, we kind of factor it in on a lot of our pricing and our contracts, where it's like, we give ourselves a little bit of headroom. It's like, hey, your valves are leaking, we replace the stop valves. Or if you go back there, hey, this framing was fucked up, we just replaced it just because, if it could cause a problem in the future, no extra charge, right? Or, hey, your stub out, we just changed it to copper. It's a little more sturdy. It'll last a little bit longer. It's easier to service. Just small minor things. And you just bring it up to the customer, and you're just like, if you're casual about it, and you're showing that care for their home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
That's something that goes into like pricing, and which is the one comment, like one question that has killed many Facebook groups. So how much to charge? Charge enough where you're not. Yeah.
How much charge per square foot to be specific?
Yeah.
I see people ask that in like maybe an hour, and then within that hour, it's like 70 comments of don't
anywhere
fucking
from
ask that
$5 a square foot to like 40 a square foot. Like it's
yeah.
And there's no easy way to answer that, but like, it's that question, man. I'm telling you, every single time I hear it, it's my automatic answer to that question is $150. Like anybody says, hey, how much you charge? $150. Like just because it's like, yo, I don't know your story. I don't know your overhead. I don't know your business. I don't know what you're trying to do. Are you trying to do this as a pastime? Are you trying to build a business? There's so many things.
Or like the last episode, what all are you providing? What is in your scope? Are you providing material and labor, just labor? Or what all are you providing in there? So
yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen that reel. There's one guy that put it. He's like, I need to have my 40% margin. I think it was 40% margin or profit margin. He's like, the reason why I charge that margin is so I'm not constantly calling you for every screw that's not missing. Mm-hmm. I go to your house. Oh, there's a screw missing. I need this money. Hey, this wall's out of plumb. I need this money. He's like, you give me enough. You let me get that 40% or whatever your number is. I don't know. It goes based on business, but that allows you to go and do the job and not nickel and dime them. You know what I mean? Obviously, there are change orders and there are bigger things that you can't foresee because you can't see the walls. They're still up. But charge enough where you can actually, like he said, valves are leaking, just change them. You know what I mean? Or a wall has a bunch of pops. I'm not going to be like, hey, I got to charge you another $150 for my drywall guy to patch this. No, just patch them. You know what I mean? And that makes a huge difference when you want to do that. You want to charge enough to pay the people to do the things that obviously you can't do.
Right. And within doing that, you lessen the amount of stress that the homeowner has to take on, which that's another thing that I had to learn on my own, or basically on my own. Because at the beginning I was that guy that's like, oh shit. Now you need more, drywall tape, or you need more paint, or you need this and that. And then, kind of learning from all that, I'm like, damn, I think I'm making this as much of a headache, if not more, than if they would have done this on their own. That was
Right.
that was at the very beginning of my run, and making creating a positive experience, and making that, like you said, because we're coming in to tear up their homes ultimately. If I can bridge the gap between, the pain of the work is about to start to it's, you have a beautiful end product, and create as smooth of a road as possible that shows, the customer may not see it, but contractor to contractor, like, it shows that this guy actually cares. And, the customer ultimately is going to be happy as hell, or
Right.
less stressed, which, I think is huge in business for sure.
Right.
And you run into that a lot, and that's one thing I've noticed the most of. If you ever have a disgruntled customer, it's just because you're coming in there, you're banging up, tearing stuff up, making noise, cutting stuff out, shutting off the power, shutting off the water intermittently. You got people in and out of the house. It's like it's just this crazy roller coaster, right? So if you start implementing small things that, at least that the customer sees, right, like the inside of the job site, complete wreck, but what the customer sees. So biggest thing for me: cleaning, dust collection, sweep and Swiffer your way out. We'll
Right.
take our shoes
Tape,
off,
paper, plastic.
Yep. So we'll do that. We'll do a Swiffer sweep, do a Swiffer for the hardwoods, vacuum your way out. I tell them, the point is to make it feel like that you don't live in a construction site. I mean, demo day
Right.
is going to be the only exception. There's going to be a mess. There's just no way to avoid it. We're going to run all the dust collectors we can, plastic things off, just be as clean as possible. But that is going to be the most destructive part.
Right. Yeah, no.
So, but with the fitness aspect, so I know you're back to your account, so it's kind of like basically what you're trying to do, I guess, from what I understand, is build an account that can be relatable to the people that need it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Some of them kind of like, in essence, like my account is that way a little bit, because I heard a saying that you're not here to wake up everybody, just the lions.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And
I've
that's
never
it.
heard that till now, but that's exactly what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
You're
And
not here
that's
for everybody. You're just for the lions.
yeah.
You
Yep.
know,
That
and
was something that was hard for me to because I was always trying to create, like, oh, who do I got to be to to hang out with the popular people? Who do I got to be to hang out with, with the D boys? Who do I got to be to hang out with the people that, the white collar people in school? And it's like, no, screw that. You are who you are, and the people that you can help and benefit, like, they're gonna hear it, they're gonna see it,
right.
and just
Yeah, I
but
mean,
do me,
right. You tend to do a lot of what you call assimilation. You try to assimilate with the people around you in order to blend in, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And nah, man, like being true to yourself, it's liberating. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced that. It's liberating to be you. Like, this is me. Like, and it's a big weight
God,
off your shoulders.
is
You
it,
know
brother?
what I mean?
God.
And the other thing too that I'm having to not learn, but I've already learned that not a lot of people are gonna like you because of it. Because a lot of
Right.
people see who they could be, but they can't. But because they can't, they don't like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird. It's they applaud you on the way down, but they can't wait to tear you down once you're on the up.
Right. It is a weird thing, man, and I don't know exactly what it is. If I also kind of want to dedicate some time into figuring that out, not so much to help other people, which is my end goal, to help as many people as I can, but that's just something that that's a challenge that I want to take on, is how can I get people to understand they can make that fucking switch over too, man. It's like I used to be, people talk a lot of smack about the kids that used to sag their pants and bang music and stay up and party, and like, that was me, dude. That was me 100%. And Like it took me a lot of honest conversations with myself to just be able to face all that shit and say, no, bro, you can tighten up, you can do better, and yeah, like yeah, but it just all goes back to being true, and if I can help somebody realize in their own way, you have so much more potential, whatever level you're at. Like if I can make that switch from that type of lifestyle to this, and by no means am I trying to position myself to be like a master of anything. No, this is the reality of it is the switch was just made when things not to toot my own horn, but when things begin to, make an upward trend and eventually I hit a decent point, I want people to understand it all started with discomfort. It all started from a really messed up way of living, way of thinking. And it was just kicking my ass every single day and knowing that I can do better is where it all started from. So when somebody pans back, like to even say, well, you just got lucky because you know all these people. No, I put myself I put myself in a situation where I had the opportunity to have 5 minutes with this person who introduced me to that person. And I went to Atlanta coverings to meet these people. And then, these people introduced me to those people. But have I not have had the balls to change and start living a different lifestyle, I would be, on the other side of the tracks right now. God knows what, doing what right now. You know what I mean? Or on the other side of that fence, a barbed wire fence.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, that's the biggest hurdle that I've encountered. I don't know if you will too, is like, one is being true to yourself. Two is obviously people are not going to like you because you are being true to yourself. And the third part is being true to yourself in newer circles now, because you were so used to having to change the way you were to be in those circles. Now it's like, let me introduce myself as the real me. And it's a weird way. A lot of people don't like it. It's good that they don't like it because you get to see who they are right off the bat. So it's kind of like, it's a helpful thing. You know what I mean? Like you be true to yourself so that you can see the people for who they are, And I mean, I live with the quote in my head with DMX. He said, trust people to be them, but trust them that you can see them. You know what I mean? It's too tiring. It's too tiring to like be in the other side. Like, oh, is he going to do this? No, if he's a snake, he's a snake. If he's a backstabber, he's a backstabber. Trust that they're going to be who they are. But know that you can see that. And now you can dodge people through that. And I think being true to yourself helps you bring that out versus people that normally say hi to you and then turn around and, talk behind your back in essence. So
no, I agree with that. I'd never heard that. Even I have heard a few of DMX's songs, but I haven't heard that. But for the most part, I mean, I'm so focused on like you said, being true to myself, being honest with myself, doing the best that I can, and caring for other people. That if somebody were to do something that slows me down, I'm just I'm such a like an ultra. I'm highly accountable for what I do. I just tell myself, well, you shouldn't have put yourself in the position to have had this person, But yeah, like that, like they say is, I trust people as far as I can throw them. But I mean, I definitely like to see the better side of people, just because I don't know. I do more with proactive thoughts like that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's good.
See, I would say that's a downfall for me because I'm a pretty big pessimist.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pro about that. I'll tell everybody that. Like, I'm just a pessimist. I assume the worst of people, and in most cases, you're not. At least for me, I feel like you'll never be disappointed. You'll always be surprised, which is better than being disappointed.
And nenever being surprised.
Yeah, but like I said, that's a very pessimistic way. I'm trying to get better at it, but that's just me.
Well, that's tied into that quote that I said. It's trust them to be them. If you see something in them that you see something in them that they're like that, then they're gonna be like that. They might change, but they're gonna be like that. You don't judge a book by its cover; you judge it by its actions.
Right.
Omar
The way that I
rap lyrics.
Ooh,
I say
Steve's on.
I say if I don't want people to judge me, which like at this point it's whatever. People are gonna just regardless. But just for example, if I don't want people to judge me for trying to be better, I'm not gonna judge somebody else for being, whatever it is that they are.
Right. So yeah, like laser focusing on you, let the rest happen. But yeah, seeing your page go to that, it inspires me at least too. Like especially with the workout, because I've been lacking on that end of it. So much so that, like I said, I went and I literally picked up a bench today because I'm like, I got to get back. Next time I go to coverings, I got to be able to lift Leon off the ground. What's going on, Steve? So we got Steve from the bathroom remodel saying hello.
Steve, I had the opportunity to meet Steve and I have like 15-20 minutes of his time. And Steve, just thank you. You put me on some game with a few goals that I want to bring into fruition in the future. And also got a lot of good content.
Yeah, no, he's good, man. We met him at the Florida one. Which once it goes back to Florida, we are definitely making that one.
Steve, he doesn't love
next
us.
year.
He didn't have time for us. He's too big for us now.
That's it.
Steve was there. Steve was at the. Omar. Yeah, I don't know about Omar. Yeah, no, Steve was at the secret party. Yeah.
Yeah. So who else did you meet that? So first of all, like meeting your social media people, right? It was kind of a surreal feeling, wasn't it?
Dude, it was like the first person that I ran into was Robert from Skyline, and when I heard his voice, I'm like, "That's Robert." But when I looked up, I'm like,
"Who is you?"
There was this moment of like, "Where's the screen? Where is the screen? How do I swipe up? How do I double tap this guy's face
right up to his forehead and
to show some support?" You know what I mean? Yeah. But it was definitely surreal. It was cool. I'm glad I made that jump to go.
So since Steve is in the chat, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this topic up. Were you shocked about like how like Steve's appearance? Dude was bigger than what I thought. Man's like, and Misha too. Misha's. You get close to him and you're like, damn.
I didn't actually see Misha. I met Steve at the secret party. Misha, I think because it was so big, and dude, coverings was huge. It's like football stadium huge. I got lost on the where all the granite slabs and all that stuff. Dude, I got lost over there for like an hour and a half.
Corner, you're gone.
Yeah, I could have sworn I took like 4 lefts, but I just kept walking by the same Spartan tiles like 10 times, just like in a straight line. I don't know how the hell that happened.
It's a sign.
Maybe. I did pick up one of their brochures to get maybe, I don't know, some inventory in the future sometime. Who knows? But
what's crazy about covering so is we walked all that. We spent like 2 days, just me and Isaac, just walking the tile section. And then people are posting stuff on Instagram. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where was that? Like, I walked that whole section. I didn't even see this display.
Yeah, it's coverings is huge, man. It was a lot for me because, like I said, this whole environment that I'm in, I'm grateful I made that switch because it's a lot of those feelings that I thought were not attainable for someone like myself. Proactive, have healthy relationships, and people that genuinely give a damn about seeing another guy win. But it's coverings is one of those events where it sent me an email asking if I'd provided some feedback, and it said, do you believe that coverings is an event that other installers need to participate? And I'm like, yes, I think that other installers would highly benefit from going to coverings, because if you care about your craft and if you care about learning and up in your game. But also, to me, it's providing customers with a higher quality product or, service. Then you will go to something like that. If you don't give a crap, just continue, using whatever the hell you're using, whatever products. But if you care, then yeah, coverings is, I believe, it's a necessity.
Yeah, so that's I kind of use that. This might be a little like bad, if you will, but at least to me, I don't think so. But I'll tell the customer, it's like, listen, it's like we invest a lot of money into our craft. We invest a lot of money into learning. So much so we're spending thousands of dollars to go to another state to learn about the latest and greatest. If there is anything that's new and latest and greatest, like I'm going to go through over there, talk with all these companies, all the companies and the products that we stand behind. We know everybody from their first name basis. And then you also we have installers from all over the US that are there, all these great minds, these giants in the industry that you can talk to like a normal person. Cause it's, and from our perspective, it's kind of intimidating, but like these people are just like the social media guys, you can just walk up to them, talk to them. All the guys in like NTCA, the TCNA, they're all like, you can just walk up to them. I mean, we were having breakfast one morning talking with some guys from the NTCA, and we like scoot our chairs over, started talking with them. Like all that information is at your fingertips. And it's a lot more intimidating if you haven't gone there because you feel like you don't have that connection.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's with coverings too. Like we met a bunch of companies. We got to see a lot of companies that we were kind of using, but never really like dove into. Like GoBoard, for example, was one of them. We went there, and I didn't know they were even making a preformed pan. So I was like, "Oh, that's new. We didn't know that." And then, yeah, but then we found Hydroblock, and like Hydroblock was another one because, my attention was like, "Hey, how's that bench being held?" He's like, "Oh, it's just a sealant." I was like, "Just sealant?
Who? What?"
And he's and then he showed us the picture. I think it was 3 or 5 guys standing on that bench, and like the sealant is the only thing holding it to the wall. And I was like, "Okay, so now you got my attention." So that speeds up our process. Like if I have to put this on the wall, you're telling me if I glue it with sealant, that's it. I'm done. I can walk away from it. I know it's going to be rock solid, which has been thus far. So that also, like Steve said on the chats, he's like, it helps you speed up and save money because essentially that's what you're trying to do as a business owner. You're trying to not so much save money, but save time to speed up your business. You know what I mean? If like tools or anything that you find.
Well, I was just about to say that's the biggest thing. All these tool manufacturers, everybody is right there. So instead of spending thousands at each brand to get pretty much the same product, you can test each one and figure out what product you like the most. And we went there solely for that purpose. I'm like, I'm testing every slab snap cutter here. I'm testing every other snap cutter, all the, everything that I can test. And it's just like, you look over, do you like this? No, I don't like it either. Let's go. Do you like this? Yes, I don't. All right, we'll get one for you. Or we both like it. Ideally, we both like it. So I was like, all right, so this is on our list. We're going to get this.
Right.
What's up, Mike? How you doing?
Yeah, so that's one of the biggest takeaways that I had from coverings was, like we saw, like Steve said, be Huey. You know what I mean? It's almost like I feel like it's a sleeper that's going to come into the market and like really hot soon, where everything's gonna be like that. So it is cool that you get to test their stuff. Like that was our thing. Like let's test it. We see a snap cutter. It didn't cut the way I liked it. So now instead of like going online ordering a $600 tile cutter to get to your house, only to find out that hey, I don't like it.
Well, here's the thing with B Huey though, because we went to Orlando, went there. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest fan of their snap cutters, and we told them all the problems that all the things we didn't like about it. I come this year. They fixed almost everything that we mentioned. Like the B Huey slab cutter, whenever I walk up to a slab cutter, the first thing I do is I shake the carriage to see if there's play. I went up there. The first time there was a lot of play. Now there's none. Their snap cutters had an issue. The little magnet that you fling forward and it would connect?
Yeah.
Last year, the magnet just wasn't like strong enough. Like you could sit there and slam it back and forth and it would just tap it and come back down. Cut a little cleaner. If they got rid of some of the flex, they added a laser, which they told us they were going to add last year. There's... especially these smaller manufacturers. We had this with B Huey, PowerTech, was another one. They're actually a woodworking company. But like when you're talking to these manufacturers and they're like, you're like, I don't like this. You have this problem. This is the issue that I have. They're writing it down. They're making a note of it. Versus you go to these big people like Monolith, Ruby. They're like, there's nothing wrong with it. The problem is you. Like that's genuinely what they are.
You just suck. But that's
Yeah.
and I think that's also like gonna improve both the tools for us and also the manufacturers that will give us better tools. Us is the key because we're the ones that have the real life scenario. Because when you're manufacturing something in a controlled environment, yeah, everything's perfect. We're talking about slamming on the back of a pickup truck or
Yes,
the back
right.
of a van, throwing it,
Yeah.
covered in
Constant
thin, covered in
dust,
thin
thin set,
Steve.
grout. Yeah.
You get
Yeah,
the
all
limited
this stuff.
edition white P5, and so when you're able to talk to these guys and tell them like, oh, okay, yeah, I use your tool. This is the downside. This is the upside. It's nice to see them that next time you go there, they're like, hey, we took note of everything. Here is how we
Right.
fixed it for you, because essentially you guys we're the ones that are going to use it to install it.
Right.
So that's good that they do that. Like Gravel's another one. I spoke to them a couple times because having the release button on the top,
Yeah, Joe.
we were
Joe
gonna
was on.
we're gonna touch it.
Yeah.
And I did. So it's good that they listened. They're like, yeah, we're trying to figure out a way to put it either on the side or cover over it, something.
Something where you have to go
prevent
out of
you.
your way almost to
Right.
release it, accidentally touch it.
There's
Yeah.
nothing
Which is
worse
gonna
than
happen
picking
a
up
lot.
Yeah, you
It's
pick
always
up a
going to happen with your
countertop
most expensive piece or the piece that will
Oh.
definitely break.
or
Yeah.
a countertop that I was picking up, and I hit the release button by accident. It almost cost me a countertop. So thankfully, it was on the vanity and it landed where it was supposed to. And I was like, "Oh my god! All right."
God, but that
Countertop
feeling
six
though.
in and you just put your health before the or the product before your health. You're like, I'm gonna pull a muscle, but I'm gonna save this.
No,
Yeah,
but
and
in that act of them putting in these these adding these extra gadgets and bells and whistles, or oh shit, oh, truck light just cut off. 1 second. Adding these extra bells and whistles, and when you come around, like Jeremiah said, he come back around and they took care of this. It's like, holy shit, these people genuinely care. And it's that feeling, I think, for me is important. That's the type of feeling that I want to be able to give to other people as well. And that shit to me is like, that's the goal. The money is going to help the business, yeah. Time, that's definitely more important than the money. I think time is the most important thing. But in the time that I'm able to spend with these people that are essentially helping me to continue and to create a business, that's what I want. I want that feeling for you, for the customer, for the subcontractor, for the contractor, for the general contractor, for even you guys, like that fucking feeling of holy shit, my life matters. Somebody gives, or somebody cares about what I have going on. Like that shit to me is golden. That's what it's all about.
But you only get that with the smaller companies that are, and this is with any business. They're so reliant on their consumer feedback and their consumer ratings that, or they'll fail. Versus these big companies, they're like, we're Monolith. Like, okay,
see,
or we're Ruby.
that's kind of big companies in I guess the tile or construction industry should follow the Amazon model, where yes, they are a giant company, but the customer service is their number one thing. To the point where they were operating negative for so many years because they were so obsessed with making sure that the customer was happy.
Yeah.
And I think these companies should obsess in like, hey, we're going to give you the best we can give you as far as the machines. Here, test them out. Reach out to creators. Obviously, who are the ones that are doing it just to advertise, or you are the ones that are really installing. You can tell. And have them reach out and say, hey, we'll send you this tool. Give us the best feedback you can. Please put it to the test. Beat up on it. Do whatever you got to do. And that way you'll get the best feedback as far as the tool. I think that would be something that they should implement. B. Huey was like that with Jeremiah's comments. Like, hey, I need this change. I need that change. Boom. Happen next year.
Or
Yeah.
And that's a year.
Or Leon, did you ever venture back towards the back? I would say my favorite part of covering is going towards the back, like towards the Chinese manufacturers. Those are always a nice places to go. But there is a company
Yeah,
called
behind the robotic.
Yes,
Yeah,
CNC
yeah.
machines.
yes, the Mach 10 or the Mach 3, or Mach E,
Mhm.
Mach 3, I think is what it was. Well,
Yeah, I went back there.
so they have this prototype snap cutter, which I will say snapped way cleaner than any Ruby cutter I've ever touched. Generally, I do pretty good, but any tubular system cutter, I just can't seem, because it flexes so much that the tension's not consistent. But I
Mhm.
was talking with them, and like as as they're telling this prototype and you're using it, I'm saying, hey, this is a problem, right? And he's taking pictures, and I'm pointing out all the little things. I'm like, it's not like these aren't the biggest thing in the world, but these are just the little things that make life easier. I'm talking about it, and he's like, how about this? He's like, can I record you and you run all that back for me? Because he was taking pictures, like he would point with a pen where I was doing, take a picture, jot down some notes. And I was just sitting there, doing this, this, and this. They're talking about making it lightweight. I'm like, oh, you want to do this? This bar is overly thick, by the way, so you're adding some weight. But when you see people like that, you could tell genuinely, you're like, all right, we're getting feedback. We're going to make these modifications. And they're keeping you in the loop on it too, which is nice. So
Yeah.
I don't know why I kind of ventured off from my original point, but
yeah. So yeah, no, it's
No, I think that I didn't get to see that cutter, but that to me, I mean, it says a lot. And it's unfortunate that only the smaller mom and pop companies or the smaller companies are able to kind of, maybe it's because they have less feedback to sift through. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not there yet to that scale yet, I'll say, but I think it's maybe they just have less emails, less feedback, less phone calls that they have to sift through, and they can get directly to you and I who are doing work possibly.
we got to think of the volume that they're dealing in, right? So like these bigger companies, right? If they're
Yeah.
only getting 20% of the market, especially some of the price points of these cutters, that's still a decent amount. Sometimes that is more than some of these smaller companies. Like if they had 100% of their customers, that bought a product, or potential customers buy a product, sometimes that revenue just doesn't compare. So just with like a smaller company, with us, we have to sell ourselves. We have to, we have a product, we have to sell the service, we have to sell us. Right. So they have more to lose, if you will, and they can't afford to lose as many customers because they can't piggyback off of their name.
Yeah, that is a fact. That is a fact.
But
yeah, yeah, man, I'm definitely looking forward to the next coverings for sure. That's going to be here in Orlando. I thought of thinking about surfaces. That's kind of up in the air, but I definitely want to try to make it. I think that's in January or something.
So the rundown I got, I want to go to KBiz for sure. But the rundown I got, surfaces are like, everybody said, yeah, if you want to go, it's a tax reduction, but they said it's like a less popular version of coverings.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I want to go to every last one of them if I can.
Yeah,
getting a nickel.
I was gonna say, if I a nickel out of me.
If that can, I'm definitely gonna try to line that up because I want to. I'm not completely. I don't know all these other installers in my area. A part of me doesn't care to know, but at the same time, I do give a shit if somebody else is providing good quality work because that just says a lot to me as a person. Like, this guy gives a fuck about himself and the work that he's doing. I want to be around more people like that are hustling hard and genuinely care about doing good work. So I don't know all these other installers in my area, but I want to be able to go to these events and learn as much as I can. Not necessarily to be a nerd, which, by the way, I'm a huge nerd. I was afraid to say it, back in those days, but I'm a huge freaking nerd. I love learning shit and I love applying it. I love, using these hands and my mind to create things. But I want to learn as much as I can from these events. That way I can bring it back and do better work for customers. Not to say that my work today is not good, because, and I mean, in my opinion, my work it's the highest quality that I at this point in my life can provide, which is decent. I don't know if you guys have seen any of my I've just started making these like educational reels on tips and things of that nature. But I'm always looking to be better, looking to get a little bit sharper, a little bit quicker, a little more in depth of what I'm doing, because that's just my whole life. It's gonna be progress from here on out. You know, from that day where it's like you can do better, man, to the end of the road, which is at that point, if I'm going and doing more every single day, when that point comes, it's like, I can rest in peace. It's not going to be like, fuck, I wish I had another day. I wish I would have made that phone call. I wish I would have tried harder. Wish I would have, jumped into that event. So, yeah, no, I want to hit these events if possible, for sure.
Yeah, well, let us know, because, I mean, what you can do is you can hit up some people. Sometimes, I mean, we pulled an Airbnb with 9 people for Orlando and end up being, like, cheaper than a hotel. Like, each person ended up paying less than a hotel was for a day.
Yeah, we'll stay in the loop. If we can do that. Well, I don't know how I'd feel about being in a hot tub with you guys. But if we could, yeah, we'll stay in the loop.
It was a big hot tub. It takes us a minute to swim around.
Rocking banana hammocks, every single one of us.
We gotta rock the hoochie daddy shorts.
Oh, I was about to say, please don't follow up on that.
I bought 2 pair last week, man. I took them fishing.
See, the hoochie daddy shorts. You need for dude, Jeremiah. He needs jorts. Jean shorts.
High waters.
High waters.
Leggings. No.
No, I'm kidding. No, but definitely, man, we'll stay in the loop, because I'm all about learning. I'm all about, getting to that next point. And
well, at least you won't be one of those old farts that are stuck on Hardy board because they refuse to change their ways. So it's good that you're learning as you go.
Yeah. Oh, so by the way, from this shower that I'm doing right now is still cement board. I wanted to try to use KBRS, but there was a few wrenches that got thrown in between this project and the last one that I had started. I wasn't able to get, there's products, so I could try for the first time a foam system, because I haven't tried a foam system yet. I want to, but I just got to line it up.
Couple things you're gonna learn with the foam system. If you have questions, each one of us, hit us up at any time. We've done enough foam where we've hit the snags. Like, you can't slap foam on an off pitch floor. You got to self level now. So that little things that become a nuisance that before you never thought, because you were doing probably dry pack and going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So things like that, you snag it up. Yeah, self level the floor.
Shit.
No, yeah.
But
it's time to kind of circle back in. So, Leon, if you can kind of bring us up with some closing statements. Thank you again, for coming on. It was a great episode, but we are kind of circling into the end of that, unfortunately.
No, I appreciate you guys letting me to come on, allowing me to come on, man. Like I said earlier, this I don't want to position myself, or even attempt to position myself as somebody that has it all figured out. This is the beginning stages of, some other things, fitness, work, possibly even real estate. Again, Steve, thank you. Yeah, it's there's just a lot of things to come, and for anybody that's watching or could get any motivation from it, I mean, follow, just jump in, follow along, because this coming from a guy that is gonna fucking find a way to make one. So
come hell or high water.
That's
it, man. That's it.
But all right. So definitely just give all your handles where people can reach you. That way they know where to find you.
Frost.
Oh shit. Facebook, Leon Alvarez. Instagram, Leon J Alvarez. Google, Flooring and Tile Designs. But for the most part, just by the name. That's today. I'm fully behind that, and I stand on it. So
okay,
good to know.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and end it, and we'll do some some talks before we actually leave, but we're gonna close out the stream.
Yeah.